Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me this evening. I needed to quickly share on Zoom so that those that want to join on Zoom can also join us. So if you can hear me clearly, let me know. Excuse me. If you can hear me loud and clear, please let me know. Thank you for joining. So I'd like you to tell me where you're watching me from. Sorry, I'd like you to tell me where you're watching me from and what you do. I'd like you to tell me where you're watching me from and what you do. This evening, I have a very interesting topic to talk about. Really interesting. But then we already launched the Diction 2.0. So which means that I will be spending about 45 minutes in the general class. And after 45 minutes, would end this session and I will continue with those in the 6 weeks Diction Mastery Academy. So if you really want to enjoy practicing with the Diction Queen, it is important to take action to join in the 6 weeks Diction Mastery Academy. So tonight we're talking about something really interesting, something that a lot of people do not pay attention to. So that's what I'll focus on in the first half. And as we proceed, we'll move to other topics. So again, tell me where you're watching me from, whether you are on Zoom or you are on YouTube. Tell me where you're watching me from. Welcome again to Practice with the Diction Queen. Okay, the chat is burning with feedback. Thank you. Imo State, I'm a nurse. Zidudu. Okay, I'm recording. Zidudu from Ghana. I am from Gombe State. Interesting. I'm from Lagos. I'm from Abuja, from Ghana. Lagos State teacher. I'm from Niger. I'm a CEO, Josie Connection. Josie Collection, interesting. Okay, I'm watching for Ghana. I'm a manager. I'm a dental therapist. I'm watching for from Delta. Apologies, I needed to quickly attend to that call before I get into it. Okay, so let's begin. So today I want us to talk about how to pronounce words that start with E and X. Words starting with E and X. I don't know if you have ever noticed that when we speak, EX pronunciations differ. As an African person, we often pronounce EX as X, which of course is normal. Normally, when we have E and X in a word, we are expected to pronounce it as X, X, which is normal, like I've stated. But then there are about 3 different ways you can pronounce E and X. Look at this short reading passage, for example. Okay, not this one. Excuse me. There is another. Okay, this one. Look at this short reading passage, for example. There are different words with E and X. If I should read this, you'd realize that the E and X in each word sounds differently. Let's take the first three sentences. Please listen attentively. The expert, ek, ek, expert. Please stop requesting access to replay, to recording rather. I'm recording already. You'll get the replay. Oh, sorry, you won't get the replay. We don't share replays on Fridays, except for those in the 6 Weeks Diction Master Academy. They are the ones that would have access to replay. Others would not get access to replay. I apologize. Okay, so let's go back to this. The expert, expert. So the expert, this word, ex in that word sounds like this. X. The expert decided to examine. Now the EX in examine sounds like this. The exterior of the building. He had to explain the exact process to the excited students that were expecting a detailed example, not just an expert, right? So the word, excuse me, the word expert now, EXERPT, if you listen very well, EXCERPT sounds like this, X. Now, these are the major three sounds that E and X make in words. So the question will be, how do I identify when EX should sound X, when it should sound eggs, and when it should sound X? Now, to explain this, there are two key things you must pay attention to. Number one, you want to pay attention to the letter E at the beginning of these words. Now, you realize that in the first two words, letter E make the letter E in examine and the letter E in expect make the A sound. A, 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 A. We have talked about this sound. A. Look at my mouth. To articulate this sound, your lips should be spread out. Your tongue should be relaxed. Your jaw should drop. And you say, A. It is not E. It is A. A. It is somewhat like the letter A. As an African, when we are saying the letters of the alphabet, we tend to say this letter as A. We pronounce this as A, 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 right? Now, note, this letter is rightly pronounced A. Let's say it together wherever we are. A. This letter here is a diphthong. A diphthong is a sound that has two. So to pronounce this word, you have to go A, A, A. Now, the way you usually pronounce this letter before, that you would just say A, this is the sound that is articulated A. It is on the IPA. On the IPA, here is the sound. It is the second vowel sound. A, 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 A. So the third word here, the first letter E here does not sound A again. It is not making another sound. It is sounding eh, eh, eh. Now let's talk about the eh sound. Now the eh sound has two symbols. Now before the S sound is usually written like this, like number 3 facing the right. So in some dictionaries, when they want to transcribe this word, the E there will be written like this. The sound of the E will be written like this, instead of like this. Instead of like this. Right. Now, still about the letter E. So when should the letter E sound A? And when should it sound E? What determines that is the position of the letter E. When I say the position, I don't mean maybe it's first, second, third. Mainly in pronunciations, some of the things that helps us to define position is two things. Is it in a stressed position or in an unstressed position? So a stressed position will be called a stressed syllable. If it is in an unstressed position, we say that it is in an unstressed syllable. So now let's talk about stressed syllables and unstressed syllables. Now, stressed syllable. First, what do we mean by syllable? When we have a word in English language, when we want to pronounce that word, we use breath. That means how many times did you pause in between words? So if I want to say the word man, I paused just once. Man. That's it. Now let's assume I want to have another part to man. I want to have the word manner. Manner. So if I want to say the word manner, watch my mouth. I said ma. I took a short pause and then I said n. Manner. No matter how fast you are, even when in random speech, I don't like a manner. I don't like a manner. Manner. You would take a pause. So in manner, there are two pauses. The first word is when you said ma. The second is when you said no. So syllables can be identified using our pause. How many times did you pause? That is the simplest way of identifying syllables. Some people would also say how many times you clapped to a word. So if I say the word man, I'll clap just once. If I say the word manner, I'll clap twice. So these are simplest ways to identify syllables. There are more technical ways, which is the way that is written in books, but these are just like hints to helping it become easier for us to identify syllables. Please excuse me, PSN is on off. Please let me connect the laptop to the solar. Okay, let's proceed. So that is how to identify syllables. So let's talk about the simplest levels of syllables. There are different levels of syllables: 2 syllables, 3 syllables, 4 syllables, 5 syllables, 6 syllables. In fact, there is a 42 syllables word. There is one word in English that has as much as 42 syllables, right? Patient is back. The solar is okay. I apologize. Somebody is helping me and I needed to give those instructions before he leaves. Okay, thank you. So back to syllables and syllables, stressed syllables and unstressed syllables. So now that we have identified what syllables are, now there are different types of syllables, but I will not talk about the common ones we know. We know the open syllables, closed syllables, and all. But the ones I will talk about today or tonight talks about pronunciations. So that is the stressed syllable and the unstressed syllable. The stressed syllable and the unstressed syllable. So what is stressed syllable? Stressed syllable is when the syllable in that word should be stressed. How do you stress it? You stress it by saying it louder, longer, and clearer. So in a word, a syllable that is stressed, a syllable that is called a stressed syllable, will be said louder, will be said longer, and will be said clearer. Right? Why a syllable that should not be stressed, should not be said louder, it means it would be low. It should not be said longer, it means it would be short and sharp. And it should not be said clearer, it means you want to mumble. You want to mumble when saying it. Now the question will be, how do I know when a syllable should be stressed and when a syllable should not be stressed? It is quite simple. We need to learn stress rules. So how do we understand stress rules? By learning the rules. Hey, this rain is going to be bad. And practicing the rules. So let's take one rule, for example. So if I have a word that has two syllables, I've talked about this rule many times, but I would like to repeat it. So if I have a word that has two syllables, if the word is a noun or an adjective, I'm supposed to stress the first syllable. I should stress the first syllable. Now let's take this word, for example. The word, I'm trying to think of a two-letter word, a two-syllable word that starts with EX. Okay, let's take the word, the word excerpt, yes. The word excerpt. The word excerpt is a noun. Excerpt. It is a noun and it has two syllables. So if I divide it, I'm going to have egg and serped. So because this word is a noun, the rule says that the first syllable, the EX, should be stressed. So now that we have understood that the EX should be stressed, because the EX should be stressed, when I want to pronounce it, the letter E in this word must be pronounced eh, 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 eh. Let me take it again. When you have a word that has E and X at the beginning, if the E and X is in a stressed syllable, the E should be pronounced as eh as in egg, eh. That is how to ascertain whether the letter E in EX should be pronounced as or a. Please, if this is clear, let me know before I move to a. If you're clear with this, let me understand. Let me know before I move to a. So if you have a word that starts with E and X, if the word is stressed on the first syllable, that means if you're stressing the E and the X, the E should be pronounced eh, eh. Nora, I see your hands up. It's not time to practice. Once it's time to practice, I'll start to call. So let me know if this is clear first, so I can move to when. Okay, not clear, 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 not clear. Not too clear. Okay, let's take it again. In English, once a word has more than one syllable, if the word has two syllables, 3, 4, 5, or no matter the syllables, no matter the word, once it is more than one syllable, then one of the syllables that that word has must be stressed. So the question is, how do I identify the syllable that should be stressed, right? To identify the syllables that should be stressed, we need to learn word stress rules. So one of the rules, the first two rules, the first one says that If the word has two syllables, and if the word is a noun, stress the first syllable. So I gave an example of a word, excerpt. Excerpt is like a short extract from a film or a piece of writing or a music. Excerpt, that's how it is being pronounced. So that word has two syllables, ex and served, two syllables. So the syllable we are stressing in that word is the first syllable. It means we are stressing the EX in that word. So because we are stressing the E and the X in that word, the E will sound E, expert. Remember that at the beginning, I told you that the E in X can make two different pronunciations. It can sound E, and it can sound A. So right now, I am talking about the E sound, just the E now, just how the E is being pronounced. So in words, when you have a word, for you to know that the E in that word should sound like E, as in egg, it means that that E must be in a stressed position. It must be in a stressed syllable. Is it clear now? Excuse me. Now, Okoro says some words can function as a noun, as an adjective, as a verb. Yes, you're right, Okoro. Now, when you have a word, sometimes, if a word is functioning as a noun or as a verb, let's take the word present, for example. That word can be a noun, it can be a verb. In such a word, when it's a noun, its pronunciation differs from when it's a verb. Let's take another word, success. Success can be a verb. Success can also be a noun, a name of a person. It can even be used as an adjective. Now, for this word, whether it's a verb or a noun, the syllable, the pronunciation does not change. The stress placement does not shift. These are things that we'll learn when we start to talk more about word stress. But tonight, we're not talking about word stress. I just had to talk about it for you to understand how to pronounce EX. This is not a class on word stress, so I would not go into that detail. I believe that is clear. So, Okoro, you're not entirely correct. There are times where the stress mark shifts, like in present and present, and there are times that it retains its position, like in success, like in address. So it depends on the word. Okay, so clear. Okay, I think we are good with the first EX pronunciation. Okay, now let's go to the second way of pronouncing E and X, which is the A. So it is simple. If the word is not stressed on the EX will simply be sounded A. Let me take that again. So if I have a word now where I am not stressing my E and X, let's assume for that word, I am stressing another syllable. I'm not stressing my EX. I'm stressing another word or another syllable. Let me give an example. So in the word, so in the word exam, EXAM, exam also has two syllables, exam. Even though exam is a noun, in the word exam, we are not stressing the first syllable. What we are stressing is the second syllable. Is the we're stressing, exam. So because of this, the E there will sound A and not E. A, egg, not egg. It is egg, exam, exam. So I want to believe we understand how to pronounce the E now. If we're clear, let me know so I can go to the X. Remember, there are two things there. We have the E and we have the X. The E can be pronounced as if you are stressing that syllable, while the E should be pronounced as if you are not stressing the EX syllable. Are we good? So I can proceed to how to pronounce the X in the word. How to pronounce the X in the word. Are we good? I wait your feedback. It's clear, it's clear. Okay, thank you. Now let's go to the X in the word. X can be pronounced as kus or guz. X can be pronounced as kus or guz. So how do we know if we should pronounce it as kus or guz? It is quite simple. Now, if the X is followed by a voiced sound. What is a voiced sound? A voiced sound is a sound that when you articulate it, you will feel vibration on your vocal cord. This is your vocal cord. When you articulate a voiced sound, you will feel vibration on your vocal cord. Excuse me. That is a voiced sound. Now, all vowel sounds are voiced sounds. Why some consonant sounds are voiced, some are voiceless. So if a voice sound is a sound that you need to feel a vibration to make it voiced, it means that a voiceless sound is a sound that you will not feel vibration. For a voiceless sound, you will not feel vibration. So again, a voiced sound, you will feel vibration. All vowel sounds are voiced. Some consonant sounds are voiced, some are voiceless. Why for the voiceless sound, you will not feel vibration. So let's take these words that we already have on the screen as examples. So the first word I have, the letter that I have, or the sound rather, that I have after the X is P, letter P. The sound that I have after the X is letter P. So how do I identify if letter P is voiced or voiceless? What sound does letter P make? It makes the P sound. So I place my palm on my vocal cord like this and say the sound P, P. I can't feel vibration. It means that the P sound is a voiceless sound. So because the P sound is a voiceless sound, it means that the X here, the X before the letter P, should be sounded as kus, kus, kus. So if I want to pronounce this word, I will go expert. X, ek, s, expert, expert, expert. Let's take another example. Let's consider the word excerpt. Now, the word excerpt has letter C after the X. So because it has letter C after the S, what sound does letter C make? It makes the S sound, like letter S sound in this word. So if I put my palm here, can you feel vibration? No vibration. So because this does not produce vibration, it means that it is a voiceless sound, right? So if I want to pronounce it, I should pronounce this as excuse me, X. The X here should also sound kus. Excerpt, 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 excerpt. Right. Now let's go to this word here. Now this word here, the letter that I have after my X is a vowel letter. And of course, a vowel letter should make a vowel sound, isn't it? So if I want to pronounce this, remember I told you earlier that all vowel sounds are voiced sound. If you put your palm here and say ah, you will feel a vibration. So because all vowel sounds are voiced sound, the EX here should also sound guz, guz. Remember the rule. If the sound that you have after X is voiceless, X should sound kus. If the sound that you have after X is voiced, X should sound guz. Is this clear? Let me know if it is clear so we can take lots of word examples and then we can practice together because it's almost time for those on the Mastery Academy to start their session. Let me know if this is clear. Clear, clear, clear. Good, 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 good. So I'm going to write a few words on the screen and then we'll compare. Okay. Delete. So I'll write few EX words on the screen and then we'll practice them together. Expert, excerpt, examine. These were the ones we practiced earlier. So I'll write other ones now so I can have a word like, okay, before then, let me work on my slide before we take lots of words. So this is the rule for the sake of those that are not clear. It's written here. You can just take a screenshot. It says that if the X here is followed by a voiceless consonant sound. A voiceless consonant sound is a sound that will not produce vibration. Articulate the X as kus. So I have words here like expand, extreme, exclude. Now look at the E. All of the E's here, they are sounding A. Why? Because we are not stressing the EX. Look at my transcription. Can you see this dot? It's not a dot, it's like a comma, something like that. Or should I say, and what's that word now? What's that punctuation mark? An apostrophe is like an apostrophe, right? So this apostrophe here is called stress mark rule. It's called stress mark, excuse me. It's called stress mark. This particularly is called the primary stress mark. There are two types of stress marks. This right here is called the primary stress mark. It's like an apostrophe. So anywhere you have the primary stress mark, it shows that you're stressing that syllable. So the primary stress mark is before spanned. It means we're stressing spanned. It means we will say spanned louder, longer, and clearer. While the EX, we are not stressing it. Because we are not stressing it, the E will sound A. Now, because we have a P after X, P is a voiceless consonant. The X will sound kus. Together we have expand. Same with this, we are not stressing the EX here. So because of that, the E should be sounded as A. The sound that we have after the X is T. T is a voiceless consonant. So because T is a voiceless consonant, then the X should sound kus, extreme. The last word we have here, we are not stressing the EX. So because of that, the E should sound A. And we have a k after the x. K is a voiceless consonant, so x should sound kus. So together we have exclude. Now let's go to the second rule. The second rule says, if the X is followed by a vowel, if the X is followed by a vowel, remember I mentioned earlier that all vowel sounds are voiced sounds or a voiced consonant. I also mentioned that some consonant sounds are voiced, some are voiceless. Then you should articulate it as guz. So let me explain further. This word here, I am stressing zam. I'm stressing XAM. I am not stressing the E. So because I should not stress the E should sound A. Now because I have a voiced sound after the X should sound guz. Exam. Same with this, I am not stressing the E, so it sounds A. I have a vowel sound, but after my X, so my X should sound guz. Exist. And the last example, the H in this word is silent. So the next sound that I have after the H is also a vowel. So because I have a vowel after my X should sound guz. And because I am not stressing the E should sound A. Exhausted. Please say after me. Exam. Exist. Exhausted. Expand. Extreme. Exclude. Can you hear the difference? Let me know if you can hear it, because if you can hear it, then you cannot speak it. You must hear the difference so you can speak it. I'm sorry, I cannot increase my volume than this. Like I am screaming already. It's raining here, so I'm using excessive energy to scream. I'm sorry, I can't go more than this. I'm sorry about that. So let me know if this is clear. Like I said, this is not a stress class, so I can't go into differentiating between a primary stress and a secondary stress. When we talk about stress, then I can talk about primary stress and secondary stress. I do not want to deviate from what we're here tonight. Let me know if you can hear the difference so I can proceed. Okay, thank you. I'll proceed now. Now there is a tricky part of this rule. There is a part of this rule that is tricky. So let's go to that part. Now that part says, sometimes, even though letter E is stressed or not, sometimes letter E will not follow the rule. Excuse me, rain is coming into the room I am. Let me quickly shut the windows. I'll be back. I am back. So the tricky part says, sometimes, whether you're stressing the E or not, the E can decide to make a different sound. Now look at these examples that I have here. Now look at these examples that I have here. The first word is pronounced exercise. Can you see the sound? Eh. The E here sounds K. Eh. Now look at the next letter that you have after the X. It is a vowel. Remember the rule we learned. If it is a vowel, the X is expected to sound eggs. But in this word, the X is not sounding guz. Instead, it is sounding like the vowel is voiceless. So we say that this is a tricky part. Now, there's something about English pronunciations, even English grammar sometimes. For every rule, there are exceptions. Exception, I didn't say exception. Pay attention to that word. The word is also a EX word. So it's not exception, which is the normal thing we hear people say. Exception. It is not exception. The word is pronounced exception. We're stressing the sep. So if I want to transcribe it, it would look something like this. Exception. This is how I will pronounce it. Exception. I'm stressing the CEP. That is why SEP is written in capital. The other parts, I am not stressing them. So the word will sound exception. Exception. So for every rule in English pronunciations, there are exceptions. Exception means words that will not follow that rule. So here are a few of them. One of them is exercise. 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 Another is this word. This word also has a vowel after the X. We are expected to pronounce the X as guz. But this word, according to the dictionary, there are some words that can have more than one pronunciations. Here are some of such words. In fact, we have a word that has 4 different pronunciations. There are words that have 3 different pronunciations. There's some that have 2, and there's some that have just 1. So these 2 words are examples of words that have 2 pronunciations. Now, when a word has 2 pronunciations in English, when the dictionary gives you 2 options, there's something we call these terminologies are flying away tonight. There's something called, I can't remember the terminologies, but what it means is there is the first option given is usually assumed. I didn't say assume. Please pay attention. This word is not assume. The S should not be changed to a Z. A lot of people, when they want to pronounce this word, they change the S to a Z. So you hear them say assume, or assuming, something like that. What am I pressing? How did I get here? Okay. So a lot of people, when they want to pronounce this word, you hear them say assume. That is wrong. This is wrong. It's not assume. It is wrong. The S remains a S. Do not change it to a Z. Say assume. 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 So it is assumed that the first option given by the dictionary is the most used or most referenced, or perhaps we could say most correct. There's nothing like most correct, but then something around that. It doesn't mean that when you use the second option, you're wrong. You're not wrong. But most times people could what's the word now? People could tell you that you're wrong until they go back to the dictionary to check themselves to figure out that you are actually right, because people hardly use the second option. People prefer to go with the first options. It doesn't mean the second or the third or the fourth options are wrong if they were given by the dictionaries. So Let's go back to this. So it means that for this word, I can decide to pronounce it as exit or exit. For this other word, I can decide to pronounce it as excel or excel. And the last word is rightly pronounced excellent. Excellent. Now look at this last word. A lot of women use this. You tell them, I want to go and buy my exfoliating soap, or how do we call it? The right pronunciation of this word is exfoliate. Exfoliate. Now look at the word exfoliate again. Remember, you can only pronounce the E as if you're stressing it. Look at all of these words. We're stressing the E. The stress syllable, the stress mark is before the E. The stress mark is before the sound of the E. That is why we are pronouncing the E as instead of A. But in this particular word, we are not stressing the E. So why is the E sounding and not A? It takes us again to what I called exceptions. So this is rightly pronounced exfoliate. Exfoliate. Now let's practice all the words, and I'll give a few people to practice. Then we end the session and we continue in the academy. Okay, so let's go back to this. Please say after me. Exam. Exist. Exhausted. Pay attention to the ED. I didn't say exhausted. It's not TED. It's TED. TED. Exhausted. TED. The other words, expand, extreme, exclude. The last set of words, excuse me, exercise, exit, exit, excel, excel, excellent. And lastly, I have exfoliate. I need to exfoliate, not I need to exfoliate. If you're ready to practice with me, please raise your hands. This is, oh, we have just 5 minutes. We have just 5 minutes for practice. Then we end the session and we go proceed in the academy. Okay, Comfort Susan. Unmute yourself. Comfort Susan. Click on your microphone to unmute yourself. Good evening, Comfort.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Please pronounce these words and make one sentence with any of them. Just one to save time.
Exam. Exam.
Egg.
Exam.
It's not
Sorry.
exam.
Exam.
Better. The next one.
Exist.
You're stressing zest. So your voice should go exist.
Exist.
Better. The last one is
exhausted.
Exhausted. Very well. Please make a sentence with one of them.
I have written my exam.
Okay, exam. I've written my exam. Exam.
I have written my exam.
Very well. But pay attention. We don't use the word write with exam. There are collocations. When it comes to words in English, we call something collocations. The words that are allowed to pair with another word. So when it comes to the word exam and test, it is wrong to use the word write, even though teachers use it. We'll start writing the exam by 9. It's wrong. It's either you sit an exam or you take an exam. You can't write an exam. So I would sit an exam or a test. I would write an exam. Sorry, you can write. I would take an exam, or I will do exams, or I will do an exam. So these are the 3 verbs that we can use with the word exam. Never use the word right. So please correct your sentence, ma'am.
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am. I wanted you to say the sentence again. So instead of I can't remember your sentence. I think it's something like I would write an exam. It should be
I said, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Can you hear
I
me?
said I have written my exam.
I say it should be I have sat my exam. Exam, not exam. I have sat.
Exam.
I have sat instead of written. I have sat the exam.
I have
I have
sat
sat
my exam.
my exam, etc.
Yes, I have sat my exam.
Okay, well done. And it is not can you hear me? It is can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, let me take another person. Princess, please unmute. Princess, please unmute. Good evening, Princess.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So, excuse me. Please practice these words with me.
Okay. Expand.
Yes, k.
Yes.
Pay attention to that.
Expand.
Yes, expand.
Extreme.
Yes, extreme.
Exclude. Sorry. Exclude.
Exclude. Okay, ma'am.
All right. I get that's all.
Okay, that's all. Please make a sentence with one of them. Any of them.
Okay. You. Okay. You need to expand your space.
Yes, you need to expand your space. Well, then, I love your voice. Thank you, Princess. So I'll call on another person. Gladys, we are all women. Gladys, good evening. Please unmute. Gladys, good evening. Unmute. Good evening. Can you hear me, Gladys? Can you hear me? Okay, I'll call on someone else to save time.
Good evening, Diction Queen.
Good evening.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please pronounce these words and make a sentence with one of them. Can you hear me? Is it my network or Gladys's? Let me call on someone else. Blessing. Blessing, please unmute. Good evening, Blessing.
Good evening, ma'am.
How are you
Thank you,
today?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Very well, thank you, ma'am.
Please pronounce the words, ma'am, and make a sentence with one of them.
Exercise. Exit. Exile. Excellent.
The exception?
Exfoliate.
Very well. Please make a sentence with one of them.
That is the exit door.
I love that. Thank you. Keep it up. Okay, I'll call one more person. Zainab. Zainab, please unmute. I think I've called 3. Okay, I still have one more. I'll make it 5. And then we end the session. We proceed in the academy. So the good thing about the academy is you're not just learning, you're practicing. Most times when you learn, you feel you have learned the correct thing, or you feel like you know what you have learned. Before marriage, I used to be a Muslim. And then I remember when we go for Arabic classes, please mute yourself. When we go for Arabic classes, when you're learning, when you're teaching us, we read in our mind. In your mind, it seems like you know it all, like you're reading it very well when you're reading the Quran. And then when we get home, my dad is fond of asking us to come read to him. So when we want to read to him, it seemed like what? Someone at the door. Excuse me, please. Who's that? Please excuse me.
Oh. Hello, everybody. Okay. Think she's not here. Egba. See.
Exercise. Exit. Exile. Excellent. Exception.
Oh, I apologize. Today's class get us away.
That
Okay, I am back
is
now. Yes, I'm very sorry. I had visitors. Okay, please, Madam Zainab, please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Please pronounce the words,
Okay.
ma'am. I make a sentence with one of them.
Okay. Okay. Exercise. Exist.
Correct.
Exile.
Correct.
Excellence.
Beautiful. And the last one?
Exception.
No. Okay, yes, exception. And then there's another word.
Exfoliate.
Exfoliate. Exfoliate.
Exfoliate.
Correct.
Okay.
Please make a sentence with,
Exfoliate.
yes, ma'am. Please make a sentence with exfoliate.
Exfoliate. Ah, that is
Okay, you can decide to pick any other word, any other one from the options.
okay. Okay. Her performance was excellent.
Yes, her performance
Her
was
performance Was
Was
excellent.
excellent, very well. So we have a reading practice,
Excellent.
but then we won't be able to practice this together here. We'd have to end the session
Okay.
now so that we can go back to the academy. Remember, this is not supposed to be what we give out,
Wow.
but then we want everyone to see what it feels like to be in the academy. Aside from the fact that we allow
Wow.
participants to practice, which each person would be allowed to do in the academy, we also have what we call the breakout room. I think one of these days we'll also try that out. The breakout room is one of the best experience that the participants in the 6-week Diction Master Academy love. So the academy is still open. If you'd like to continue with this class, of course, I think continuing with this particular class is a good option for you, or a good decision, a good reason for you to want to join the academy right now. The account details remain the same. The UBA account on the screen, if you're in Ghana, the account details remain the same as well. So in your groups right now, the account details will be posted. If you'd like to join the academy, just make your payment immediately, then you get the link to continue in the academy right now. So in the academy, we're going to spend another 1 hour tonight before we end tonight's session. And tomorrow again, we go between 8 p.m. to about 10 p.m., where we don't just learn, but we also allow participants to learn from each other. That is where we have the grouping. We group participants into smaller groups where they learn. So to everyone who showed up tonight, I am glad you've learned 1 or 2 things. If you didn't get the opportunity to practice, you can of course practice on your own. And of course, you can join the academy to practice with us as well. Somebody said, can I practice with you, ma'am? It's only those in the academy that are allowed to practice with me. Oh, somebody said, I want to talk, please. Like I said, come into the academy, and of course, I give you assurance of being able to practice with me. I want you to talk. My sister, practice with me before you go now. I know how it feels, but really, you need to get into the academy to practice. Somebody said, I need a recorded video to practice. You cannot get recorded video. Recorded video will only be sent to those in the academy. So that's another reason why you should join the academy right now. You're paying into the same account details. The account details will be sent to your group. You're paying into the UBA account if you're in Nigeria. If you are in Ghana, you're paying into the MTN Momo line or the Vodafone Momo line. Okay, I would end the session now. And please, if you're in the academy, let's continue in the academy. A new Zoom link will be sent to the academy where you can join and we can have enough time to practice amongst ourselves. We'd love to have new intakes tonight. So feel free to enroll right now so you can practice with us for another 1 hour. And of course, we meet again tomorrow for those, only those in the academy, where we would also practice together. So if you're in Ghana, you have the opportunity of paying 270 Ghana cedis right now. If you are in Nigeria, all you're paying is 20,999 Naira into the same account number. The account number will be sent to the groups immediately. If you have the account numbers with you, you can go ahead, send your receipt to the group, and immediately an admin would attend to you so you can get access to the academy right now. So bye-bye. See you all in the academy. Yeah, God bless you too. How much? Okay, if you're in Nigeria, it is 20,999 Naira. If you're in Ghana, it is 270 Ghana cedis. Plus, you get lots of bonuses. I didn't talk about the bonus. Okay, let me quickly say that. You get lots of bonuses. We have bonuses worth 82,000 Naira. And you're going to get for free if you're enrolled tonight. You get access to the bonuses immediately. And you, of course, get to start to learn immediately. Somebody said, I want to pay 3,000 Naira. No, please. The academy is 20,999 Naira. Somebody said, please, can I? Oh, I can see that comment again. How do I log in? Once you pay. Oh, somebody said for how long? The academy runs for 6 weeks. So we do this every Fridays and Saturdays for 6 weeks, where you learn and practice with me. One good thing about the academy is you will not just learn, you will practice. And even after 6 weeks, if you have not got value, after 6 weeks, we do a refund. That means after 6 weeks, if you have gone through everything I asked you to go through and you have not achieved anything, if you've not got any results, after 6 weeks, we make your refund complete refund. After 6 weeks, if you follow my lead, you do everything I ask you to do, and you do not get results, you get your refund. And after 6 weeks, if you have followed everything that I ask you to do, and you still feel like you want to learn more, we allow you to keep showing up in the Zoom sessions. And of course, you get a lifetime access to the learnings, that is the everyday learning. So this is how the 6 weeks work. I think we have new people that didn't know about the 6 weeks at all. The 6 weeks runs Mondays to Saturdays. The 6 Week Diction Master Academy runs Mondays to Saturdays. So Mondays to Fridays, you learn at your convenient time. So I say, can I pay the money twice? If you're ready to pay tonight, I can give you that opportunity. If you make your first payment tonight, that is half payment, I can give you that opportunity. After tonight, the opportunity is off. Okay, so back to my explanation. The 6 Week Diction Master Academy runs Mondays to Saturdays. So Mondays to Fridays, you learn at your convenient time on the e-learning platform. Then you submit your assignment on the WhatsApp group where we listen to each person's assignment and give feedback. That is Mondays to Fridays. Now on Friday by 8 p.m. we meet like this where we practice. Then those on the academy practice between 8 to 10 on Fridays. On Saturdays also they meet between 8 to 10 as well to practice. And that is when we break them into groups. We divide them into groups where they can also practice with other people. So we do this for 6 weeks, Mondays to Saturdays for 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, if we aren't satisfied with your results, we give you the opportunity to keep learning on the academy and you keep learning. Now, for the e-learning platform, you get a lifetime access. It means that even after you've graduated, you can still log into your e-learning platform with your email and your password. And after the academy, we add you to an alumni group. Our alumni group works like this. We meet once a month rather, on Telegram where we further practice. We do not want you to go back to your default setting. We understand that when there is no one to guide you, you might lose guard, like they say in Nigeria, and you go back to your old self. So we do not want you to go back to your old self. So after the 6 weeks, after you're done learning, we add you to the alumni group on Telegram where we further meet once a month to help you practice and give you reasons to keep practicing. Okay, so I need to go now so that those in the academy can start learning. If you need more questions, you can ask. Okay, bye everyone. If you're in the academy, I'll send a new link to the academy group right now, the support group and the assignment group. You get a new link to it. The next class is now. We're continuing right now. So once I end the Zoom session, we join another Zoom session. That is the next class. Okay, thank you everyone. If you have other questions,